be those officials that get selected at the end of the championship. And it's another stepping stone towards their development, whether they're aspiring this year to be in the Pee Wee Championship and next year the Bantam and so on. But that's where we're hoping that this mentorship program, one of the byproducts is we're helping identify those best officials and give them the opportunities to have those experiences as well. And the last thing that I sort of wanted to touch on was going back realistically to the structure of our mentorship program. And I'm going to throw up on the screen in a second here a document that might seem a little bit overwhelming at first, but it's ultimately what we're using as our template to get out there into the field and get to these mentorship weekends.
Sean, can I just jump in for a second?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw something on the screen, and you're going to have a referee-in-chief of an association out there that's going to go, wait a second, I don't see my tournament on here. I think it would benefit my 15 or 20 or 25 or 30 officials in my association to have one of your mentors come in and work alongside me and my association, and I don't see my name on here. How do I get my name on it?
So that is a good point, because that's going to be the follow-up to what I have here. And what I have here, you can sort of see in the first block is the first 13 tournaments that we've targeted, and actually the first group that we've been to already this season with this coming Halloween weekend, a couple of tournaments in Cranbrook, Salmon Arm, and in the South Okanagan, the Soyuz area. So the ones above the black line are everything that we had scheduled for our first month of this program, which is October. But as you can see, as we continue through the month, as we go, we have many more associations targeted, and this year, different from last year, is some of these tournaments have been specifically requested by the referees and chiefs. We didn't know the best way to go about this year, so we experimented with how we get the word out, because there's obviously a lot of turnover at times in the referee and chief position. There's even turnaround in our officiating coordinator position, with us having 4 new officiating coordinators this year alone, which is a 25% turnover of our own program staff. But what we did was first and foremost identify every association in the province. Then we tried to categorize them in a manner that we could fit them into a schedule where we knew that we could staff somebody coming there. Coming to that association. Then we sent around a form to first the referee and chiefs that we had on file as far as their contact information at the end of the summer, which is not always finalized at that point. Also to the association presidents, and then finally to our officiating coordinators themselves, who are getting in touch with you regularly, even through the clinic season. And then a number of these tournaments were specifically identified by referee and chiefs requesting our program to come in. So we're working to hopefully get this integrated somehow into an online process, just like requesting a clinic, where you're going to be able to go on and request a mentorship weekend. We're not at that step yet, so we do rely on you right now as the referee and chiefs to help us identify that. Ultimately, for anything that we have already scheduled within our own internal organization of the program up until the end of November, sort of what's in place, which is sort of what you see on the screen here just past these red marks, where we still have a couple of openings where we're trying to fill in some spaces. I don't expect you to have to quickly glance and find your own association in there. But at this point, being on this webinar with us, if you haven't seen your name on a quick glance, or you haven't been contacted already by a supervisor, because every tournament on here up until this red line, the supervisors have already been in touch with the referee and chiefs of those associations in regards to coming to their association. We would like to reach out to you and have you contact Larry and myself to see if we can accommodate any specific requests you may have to have us come to your association. So the last thing we need to touch on is where you can find our information. So on the BC Hockey homepage, off the top banner, there's an administration section and contacts. And under here, there's program delivery groups. And this is where you're going to find, first of all, your officiating coordinators for each of your districts. If you're dealing with a female-specific association, Al White is your contact there, and he's in charge of scheduling the mentors coming into female-specific associations for these mentorship weekends as well. You'll also find Larry Krause on here and his email address, and that right there, this group of people are your first points of contact for trying to coordinate with our mentorship program. Again, like I said, up until the end of November, we already have those ones in place. We've already put everybody, as far as a supervisor, into a schedule and had them start to reach out to the associations to make sure that everybody's aware that they have somebody coming into their association. We're working over the rest of the next couple of weeks here to get everything set up for our rush of Christmas tournaments, which we know are obviously a high volume of games and a busy time for everybody. So we want to get a well in advance approach on that. And then going into January, February, leading into championships, there's a lot of opportunities with New Year's tournaments and so on, where we like to get into the associations in advance of championships so we can help with that scouting process. So you can find the contacts, like I said, for the coordinator within your zone if you aren't already regularly in touch with them here. You can find Larry and Al's information, and then my information is directly on the staff directory off of the same contacts main page, and you'll find me on this group here as well. So you can contact any of us via email regularly. I'm in the office regularly as well. But email is often the best way to get a hold of us, especially when we're in coordination with whether it be clinics, mentorship weekends, or any other opportunities that you know locally that you think would benefit your officials. I'm going to throw some examples out there of Craft Hockeyville that we just had on the island here, where Peninsula and Saanich worked with some officials that were in from the National Hockey League there, to our Western Hockey League nights that we've already mentioned, to other opportunities that may happen locally that you think are going to benefit your officials, and you're not sure exactly how to structure that to do so. We are going to have the Women's World Championships in Kamloops in the new year, and there's an opportunity with all of our female championships happening in Kamloops in conjunction with that event to be able to work with anybody that wants to capitalize on those types of things that come into your local area. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be something that's an annual turnover. It can be a one-off opportunity that you need some help structuring some type of development or learning or experience, basically, for your officials to participate in.